session, and when we're done, let's schmooze.
I'm gonna imagine there's like 200 people in this room. We'll give it all we got. Okay, so I just want to start off and make some sort of a disclaimer that the objective of this session is not to be a pump ura and pump our summer camps and pump our Kiruv programs that we have throughout the year. There is a real, genuine question. Kiruv for kids, does it work? When Yosef told the Shvatim that Binyamin has to stay behind with him because he got caught stealing the Becher, Yehuda went and approached Yosef and he said, Eich alel avi, how will I be able to go to my father? V'hanare nenu iti, and the child is not with me. When a Meir Premishlana would read these words, he would say, Eich alel avi, how will I be able to go to my father after 120 years? When all of us are going to stand by the final judgment, V'hanare nenu iti, and the children, the youth, the next generation, the kids are not with us. That we didn't put our kaiches, our resources, our power, our energy into the children. Meir Premishlana definitely and obviously held as a chayiv, there's an obligation on all of us to be worried about the nar, to be worried about the children. Eich elal avi, how will we be able to go to our father after 120 v'hanari nenu iti, and we didn't put our time and our efforts into the children? However, this statement needs to be challenged. There are thousands and thousands of hours that people put in, tens of thousands of hours. There are literally millions of dollars being spent each year on reaching out to children that are 8 years old, that are 9 years old. Is it worth putting all of those resources, all of the kaiches, into a 9-year-old? Is working with a 9-year-old kiruv, or is it babysitting? In Tsarist Russia, we all know that the Kazakhs would go from town to town and they would kidnap children. They would kidnap them when they were very young, when they were 5, 6, 7 years old. They would take them off to the army and they were never to be seen again, totally lost from Yiddishkeit, and it happened unfortunately over and over again. However, the Tsar was working a little bit on his PR campaign, and he allowed that if a parent would be able to prove in a court of law that a child or a person or a soldier in the army was their child, he would let the child go back home. He would let the soldier go back home. It happened in a small town. They came in and they kidnapped a 7-year-old child. 14 years later, the child is 21 years old now. The parents never gave up hope to find this boy. And one time it happened that the Kazakhs were coming through that same village, and these two parents are standing outside and they see their child walking by, and they immediately recognized him, and they ran over to him, and he did not remember them, did not remember them, did not remember the town, he knew nothing. It was 14 years ago. Everyone had their moment, they were able to go to court. He had 5 minutes in court to prove this is their child. They went to the Nachal Eshkol and they said, what do? We know it's our child, we have no doubt. We have 5 minutes to prove. The Nachal Eshkol tells them, I'm going to take care of everything. You have nothing to worry about, just go to the court case. The day comes, everyone goes into the courthouse, the whole town is there because everyone knew this is the boy. They remembered him, he didn't remember them. They had their 5 minutes to prove their case. The Nachal Eshkol walks into the courthouse, and he's wearing a white kittel, and he's wearing his talus over his head, and he's going with his gartel, and he stands in front of this 21-year-old soldier, and he starts to say, Kol Nidrei, and he repeats the entire Yom Kippur davening. He does it once, and he does it twice, and he does it 3 times. And right before he's about to finish, it's 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And he looks at that 21-year-old soldier. Do you remember when you heard this song? The soldier breaks down, he runs over to his parents, and he embraces his parents. that he hasn't seen in 14 years. Because the davening he heard when he was 7 or 8 years old remained with him 14 years in the Tsar's army. It was never forgotten. The imprints and the impressions you make on a child, they are like wet cement, and they will last a lifetime. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Avram Avinu to do the Akedas Yitzchak. Hashem comes to him, he tells him, Kach es bincha, take your child. Avram says, I have 2 children. I have Yitzchak, I have Yishmael. Ech sichidcha, your only child. I have 2 only children. Yitzchak's an only child from Sarah, and Yishmael's an only child from Hagar. Asher ahavta, that you love. I love both my children. As Yitzchak, take Yitzchak. Reb David Shrank says, the Yishmael was thrown out of the house at age 16. At the end of his life, 50, 60, could have been 70 years later, he was chayzer b'tshuva. Why? As bincha sechidcha asher ahavta, the love that Avram Avinu showed him when he was 14, 13, 12, remained with him for his entire life. That when he was 50, 60 years later, he was chayzer b'tshuva. Because the love that he felt when he was a child. The impact and the impressions that can be made on a child before they go through 4 years of a public high school, before they experience a Cancun midwinter break, is invaluable and will last forever. There was a recent publication that was put out on Kiruv. I'm not going to mention the name because it was mentioned way too many times, probably over this weekend. But one of the issues that was brought up is a lack of resource of Kiruvable people, that due to the fact that the conservative movement is burning out, we're losing kids to get. So from what we've seen, the conservative movement is depleting. However, there's a whole new field of kids to reach out to. Divorce rates in America are the highest they ever were. The amount of single parents that are in America is frighteningly and sadly extremely high. A child that comes from a broken family can get whatever he wants. That means the girl that came to camp, who has a single parent, and she experienced lighting Shabbos candles, and she goes home and tells her mother, that's a single parent, fighting over custody for this daughter, says, Ma, can we please light the Shabbos candles? There's no way the mother's telling her no. And the mother lights her Shabbos candles. And as this mother living in Manalapan, New Jersey, is lighting those Shabbos candles, she begins to remember her grandmother that came from Auschwitz, lighting those same Shabbos candles, and she begins to cry for the memories she had as her being a child. All from that daughter that came to camp, that her mother was going to do whatever she asked her to do. After Shabbos, that mother got in contact with the Ur office and said, I want to learn more. My daughter's encouraging me. I want to know more. We got her a Torah mate, Tisha Shabbos. Another hot topic of conversation is changing the course of Kiruv. It was mentioned last night by Savar. It was mentioned in that publication. Changing the course of Kiruv. See, here's what I propose. And it's not my proposal. It's the proposal of Das Torah. Rav Pam saw that there was a tremendous amount of Russian people moving to Eretz Yisrael. Tens of thousands. And we needed to do Kiruv on those people. What was his advice? Make a school for children. Because that's where it starts. Our Manik, the Mashiach Estana on Yeshiva, has been working in Kiruv for 40 years plus. And he tells us, start with the children. We do need to change the face of Kiruv, and it has to be the face of the children. Because in today's generation, the parents listen to the children, unfortunately, more than the children listen to the parents. That if there's a boy that came to camp, and his father came on visiting day, and he saw the amenities, and he got to go down the zip line, and he got to drive the ATVs, and he had a fantastic time. And then after the summer, the boy comes home and he gets an invitation to come back to camp with Simchas Torah. And he pleads with his father, let's go back to camp. The father's skeptical. I'm not interested in driving 4 hours, but the amenities are fantastic, and his son is dying to go. The father comes to Simchas Torah, and for the first time in his life, he dances with the Sefer Torah by the Akafis. By the Suda on Yantiv, he's sitting next to a Frum family. That's how we do our events. A Kiruv family and a Frum family. And he gets to meet a person sitting next to him. And they build a relationship. They find out they live 4 blocks away from each other. And for 2 years, they've been learning every single Shabbos afternoon. And today, the entire family is a Shem Shabbos. Because the child came to camp and convinced his father to come for a Yantiv. Every person will have to answer that question. How will we be able to answer when we go to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? But we didn't put our kaiches and our emphasis and our resources into the children. Whatever field a person is in, whether it's college campus, whether it's small town America, whether it's a Kiruv Kailul, there are always children in the picture. And the face of Kiruv might today be the children. They can have the greatest impact on their family. We've seen it. Rav Pam knew it, and he saw it, and it's countless and countless stories. And we all have to get ourselves involved in this and reach out to us, because we're here and we're available and we're accessible, whether it's year-round programming, whether it's summer camping, whether it's Yom Tovim and events. It's not to be a Ura pump session, but we made it clear that Kiruv4Kids not only works, but is successful and will probably lead to the success of Kiruv and her entire family. So help us, help Klal Yisrael, and we should all connect with each other, and we'll give out our names and our numbers, and we'll be able to be in touch. Thank you for listening. You can shut the machine. You made a mezuman.
Nice. What are we eating?
What are we eating? Okay, Shkoyach, thank you for coming. Shkoyach.
Can I ask you just like what you said about the children, influencing the parents? Like, I definitely see one of the. I just had a family over this past Friday night where the kids are definitely. If I can get the kids from, there's no shy that the parents are before.
That's right. People today. That's how it goes.
Everyone falling after the kids.
That's how it goes. That's been serious.
What do you suggest to do with the kid? I mean, the kids. Let's say he's 15 years old.
Get him to come to camp. Show him our website. Any camp. I'm saying ours because ours, but show him the website. Show him the website.
No, he doesn't know any. He doesn't have any friends going to the camp. He doesn't know any.
Show him the website. Tell him to bring his friends along. Oh, thank you. It's the best. A lot of times you suggest